Good evening, everybody, from the Wanderers Club, where we have this wonderful evening with our alumni, members of the MBA. They are part of a 70,000 alumni group worldwide in 150 countries of Henley MBA students. So it's really a privilege to have these people here this evening. Some of them have graduated about 10 years ago, and they said to us that they can't wait to see their fellow students again after 10 years. So it's a wonderful occasion. It's almost like a reunion. Some are sitting tonight at the tables in their syndicate groups, as they were 10 years ago or 12 years ago. So they are all very happy to be here.
My best moment whilst I was studying with Henley, I would say for me, is when I realized that I've made it. I've passed, they've accepted my thesis, and I was looking towards the day to going to London and graduate. For me, that was the best moment, when I knew that finally I've achieved what I've set to achieve. That was the best moment for me. My advice to potential students studying at Henley is to say, there's a saying which says procrastination is a thief of time. As long as a student you know that if you're supposed to cover chapter 7 today, cover chapter 7 today. Tomorrow there's chapter 8. For me, that is one of the things that I applied in my life to be able to finish in record times. If you do that, for me, you would cruise. You'll never have to scramble at the end of the day. My Henley experience really has actually brought a number of things to me, opportunities at work, the promotions that one has come through, and the exposures, the people I've met, my colleagues here. Really, there's quite a number of things who are my sounding board in a number of ways, at work, in a number of things. For me, I think of all the schools I've been, varsities, this is the best experience because all I've learned, I've applied in my day-to-day job. So all of it was applicable. So for me, really, I would recommend to anybody. It was the best experience I've ever had.
I think, to be honest with you, what I've learned very quickly is start straight away. Don't put anything off. And it's better to do a little bit every day than to try and start catching up later on. Just do a little bit every day and get cracking straight away. Time slips into the future very quickly, and before you know what's happening, you're stressing, you're having heart palpitations, and all sorts of things can happen. Please just start straight away. I think it's an amazing school. I mean, it's got a remarkable history, and in the last 5 to 10 years, it's just grown phenomenally. And what's exciting, I think, about Henley is that it's an international school, and we have the best of international practice coming to us. And we are now, as South African students, competing on a global scale with a global qualification. And so I'm excited. I'm excited about what Henley's going to do in terms of contributing to growing our continent. And people like me, yeah. My Henley experience has been an interesting one. I arrived kind of thinking it's going to be purely an educational journey, but it's been a bit more than that. I've started to do a little bit more introspection about myself, what I can and what can't do. You're stretched because it is demanding. This isn't easy. They're not going to give it to you. You really have to work for this. But what's remarkable is that you start to learn that you actually can do a lot more than you think. And also your brain just starts to rewire in different ways. Other avenues of thought start to come, and other opportunities that you may not have seen before start to become possible. So it's been a great experience for me. 20 years in the media, and now doing an MBA. A whole world is out there, and I'm now sort of grappling with the idea of what do I do next. You know, I'm that excited. So it's been a great experience for me so far.
Well, it was incredible actually. Learned quite a lot. and had interesting experience, especially because it's been quite some time that I have not been studying. So the moment I went into Henley, then it reminded me of the student days experience. Yeah, havoc. I mean, business cases that you have to sort out. It was during the times when we had exams, for 2 years in a row. So it was quite havoc in the sense that, we'd sit after hours within a syndicate, discuss, come up with possible questions to the business case, argued. And the bottom line was that, we could argue as much as we like, but the reality is when the question comes, be honest, be truthful. That's basically it, yeah. Advice to potential students, well, first and foremost, prepare. Engage your partner, engage family members, because Henley takes a lot of time. A lot of your time will definitely be sucked up in it. So do what is expected of you. If there are deadlines, stick to them. Don't argue with lecturers, because trust me, they know better. And you can't pay that much money and still argue. So just get on with the job, do what's expected, and do your best. Yeah. But I think the most important thing is do what is expected, make sure that the deadlines are met. If you're a perfectionist, you're not going to make it.
So I think that especially if you're in a full-time job and you're kind of working and you're trying to juggle as a woman as well, kids and the home, etc. I think that the important thing is to kind of be very planned about how you're going to divide your time and prioritize, because life happens, we know that. And you kind of have to be able to juggle a whole lot of things, especially as a woman. So make sure that you kind of factor in on a daily basis to do something. And that's where you kind of alleviate falling behind, because then it becomes overwhelming and, becomes a useless situation. So really it's about planning and prioritizing and then taking life into account and not being so hard on yourself, actually. Just kind of rolling with the punches when you have to.
The Henley experience is the best. It's best described when you learn the academics and the functional areas, the finance module, the operational module, the various modules. Henley has taught me one thing that I walk away with, that I'll use for the rest of my life. So the Henley experience taught me to think differently. I know that sounds very simple, but when you come from a functional environment, example finance, you think like a financial manager. When you come from sales, you think like a salesperson. So Henley has taught me to blend all the functionalities together, because even if you think you have the answer, there's a better answer. And Henley's taught me to listen more, especially to those in the room, even if you have the answer. Sometimes you have the answer and you stop listening. You need to listen, because the answer is probably a combination of what you're thinking. And when you move around in the lenses of the colleagues in the room and see the ideas through their eyes and through their ears, that's when the best answer happens. So Henley's really taught me to think a lot differently and to appreciate other people's inputs and opinions.
So my employment in South Africa relates to supply chain management and human resources. I work for a cosmetic and fragrance distributor supplying local retailers. So I did my MBA in South Africa with the Henley Business School. I completed it in 2012, graduated in 2013. I'm currently doing my DBA with the Henley Business School in the UK. I've just started in October 2015. I think there's a definite need for the DBA in South Africa, and I think it's definitely in the future plans, and I think there's a lot of opportunity, there's a lot of people interested in doing it. I was sort of wanted to do it quite quickly, and I didn't want too much of a gap between the MBA completion and then starting a DBA, so I've chosen to do it with the Henley Business School and in the UK. But I think there's a lot of opportunity from a South African perspective for the South African Henley Business School. Fabulous, hence I'm doing the DBA as well with Henley. I think it's the school I've chosen to associate myself, and any future studies will go with the Henley University.
We are going to launch officially or constitute the Henley South Africa Alumni Chapter at the end of November. So then we will have an official club in South Africa, which we are very excited about. And we will have these students all being part of this because they want to be part of it. Working at Henley is very special because I've only been there for 10 months, but I still feel already part of the family. It's a very caring organization. You are part of one big family. We're all there for each other. It's got a very nice vision. We are all driven to do what we need to do. Very innovative, very creative. And if you want to do something, you just go ahead and you do it. Last week I turned 50 and I couldn't believe that Henley went to so much trouble and made my day so special and had a whole party for me, and they sang for me and they had a cake for me, and it was feeling like I'm with my family, and it was very, very special. I see the future of Henley, that we are going to be one of the top 3 business schools in South Africa in terms of all the different ratings, that we're going to maintain all our accreditations, maintain the fact that we are the only international accredited MBA in South Africa, and that we're going to move into Africa and become the place where we grow the people who grow the businesses that grow Africa.
Why is Henley special? Working at Henley special, it's because the people at Henley are all special. All those that are associated with it, the staff, faculty, students and alumni, they are all very passionate in being successful with Henley. My best experience was actually seeing not only the fathers doing the program, but the sons also getting onto the program and following in their dad's footsteps. To make the most of what you can at work and while you can. I think that the delivery of Henley's programs will change with the modern technology and the innovation. So it will be a far cry from what we originally used as green boxes with a lot of bound heavy books and cassettes, which are now all replaced.
Henley's a wonderful environment to work in. Worked here for many, many years. The people that we meet every day are absolutely fantastic. They become your friends for life. You see them 10 years later even. It's a very rewarding job at Henley. We see the students start. It's quite a humbling experience. They start the MBA, they lack the confidence. We see them go through the program and graduate. And it's the most wonderful thing to see them on the podium graduating. We know what they've been through, how much work they've put into it, and their personal growth is so fantastic to see, and what they go on to achieve after the MBA. I've been very fortunate to be at Henley because I've seen the fantastic growth and how many changes have we made, and also all the learning opportunities that it's given me. It really opened my eyes to education and what's so important and what people should be doing, and even how the disadvantaged people have come up so well once they start the MBA and have been given the opportunity, and how they also grow. That's a fantastic experience to see that. Well, I've seen Henley grow from the GIMT days to the Henley Management College, to the Henley Business School, to the University of Reading. I've been fortunate to be here all that time, and the growth in the last 5 years has been absolutely tremendous. We started with 3 people a number of years ago, and we're now, a big complement of staff. And of course, the growth into Africa and into even into
the rest of South Africa has been absolutely amazing, and the interest and the executive education side has grown so much, and been very privileged to be part of that.
I like that it's accredited. It's got the triple accreditation. It's an institution that I'm proud to work for as well. And when I speak to people and marketing as well, that comes out strongly, that it's a reputable institution that's, I think rankings now we're on number 59 or somewhere there, 49. So it's good to know that behind me there's a quality MBA and a quality institution that renders out good service to people as well. I enjoy working with people, so working with the MBA delegates that come in asking for advice on which programs to do, I enjoy that part of interacting with people and giving them guidance. And actually when they are on campus as well, it helps to know that you've played a role in somebody's career and what they had, their choice of studying, and I can better it by offering a service, so I enjoy that part as well. Wow, Henley's growing in South Africa. We're doing very well at the moment. I think from here on we can only grow bigger. In terms of, I would say facilities as well. We need to go get bigger facilities because that space is too small for us where we are at the moment. So it's got a good future.
Working in Henley is special because, you get to meet a lot of people. You're exposed to a lot of things in terms of networking with people from different sectors. And the staff really is fantastic. It's nice to work with. Well, my first experience was to go to the UK and meet other, members from Henley family, and that was very great for me. Yes. Well, working at Henley has really broadened my horizon. I'm able to think differently now in terms of dealing with different people from different spheres of life. My prediction for Henley in the future is that Henley is still growing, but I'm sure that it's still going to grow and beat other business schools around the country.